Hey friends, welcome to the Time for Living podcast, your ultimate guide to finding the time you need to crush your business dreams while still having time to live your one beautiful life. I'm your host, Lucy Clark, a devoted boy mum, dedicated business owner and time-finding expert. Say goodbye to that I'm too busy mindset that's holding you back from growing your online business. No more feeling overwhelmed or stuck in the same place year after year. Each week, we'll dive deep into strategies for being intentional with your precious time so you can hit those business goals while still making time for yourself and your family. If you're ready to create more time, get practical tips and prioritize the steps that will make the biggest impact on your business and life, then you're in the right spot. Pop in your earbuds, steal a quiet moment, and let's find time together. Hey there, have you ever said to yourself, I'm just going to quickly check my emails, only to look up and realize an hour has disappeared into the abyss of your phone? You meant to get ready for bed early or work on that project, but suddenly you're neck deep in news, videos, or social feeds, feeling more drained than you did before. So why do we do this? Why do we scroll even when we know it leaves us feeling empty and exhausted? Today, we're going to look into doomscrolling, or the habit of endlessly scrolling through random content, which isn't just a simple distraction. It's designed to hook us. Social media platforms are built by experts who know exactly how to keep us engaged, almost like a slot machine that gives you little bursts of dopamine with every like, comment, or compelling headline. We're not just scrolling because we're bored, we're scrolling because it soothes us in a strange way. After a long day, when your energy is low and life feels demanding, scrolling is the easy, comforting option. It's like a warm bath for your brain. No demands, no effort, just a simple swipe. And let's be real, there aren't a lot of simple, easy options out there that give us that sense of comfort without some kind of consequence. So we pick up our phones, we scroll, and we settle into that trance-like state. It's become our go-to escape when life feels heavy. But the problem is that quick fix of content consumption comes at a cost, stealing our time, energy, and focus. One study even suggests we spend an average of 15 to 20 years of our lives, or we will do, glued to our screens, scrolling mindlessly through a bottomless pit of videos, tweets, and reels. And when I say this, I don't do it to shock or shame. And I don't want us to spiral and think of all the past hours and hours we've wasted or just procrastinated on. I do it because, for me, I just don't want that as my future. And I'm sure you don't either. But what if we could change that? Imagine turning those drained, doom-scrolling moments into intentional, energizing actions that lift you up rather than pull you down. Today, we're going to dive into why we doom-scroll, the toll it takes, and more importantly, how we can reclaim those moments. Let's get out of the scrolling cycle and back into the driver's seat of your time, energy, and focus. Are you ready? Let's go. So why do we doom-scroll when we often feel worse after than we did before? It's called the procrastination cycle. Imagine this, it's the end of a long day, you've got home from work after a long commute, or you've worked at home all day with little to no breaks, cooked dinner, helped the kids with homework and got them into bed, tidied up, put the laundry on, and finally it's your time to unwind. You promise yourself you'll just take a quick peek at your phone, maybe scroll for 5 minutes before bed. But before you know it, the clock says you've lost an hour or two. This is the procrastination cycle at work, pulling us in when we're least resistant. It's almost hypnotic, a mindless escape after a tiring day when we really don't want anything too stimulating. We're just looking for something easy, something soothing. There's a reason scrolling feels like a trance. It's not about excitement, it's about comfort, a passive way to unwind without having to do much. Screens give us a sense of calm and control, but they also put us into a kind of digital lull where nothing is asked of us. And just like that, scrolling becomes our answer to the exhaustion of daily life, a shutdown for our minds that requires little to no effort. Recognizing this cycle and that it's built to hold us there and really admitting that you don't want to do it any longer is the first step in breaking free. There may be something deeper that we are trying to escape from, so doing some soul searching and identifying it could also really help here too. But we can't just stop with identifying it. We have to look at the true cost of what doom scrolling's having on us. While it might feel like just a little me time, the true cost of doom scrolling goes way deeper. Think about it. All that time scrolling through feeds, the ones full of negative news, or those perfect snapshots that pull us into comparison, takes a real toll on our mental health. Research shows that this habit doesn't just keep us hooked, it fuels anxiety, stirs up hopelessness, and messes with our sleep. And let's be honest, doom scrolling right before bed? It's the worst, winding us up instead of helping us relax. So we're left feeling restless and drained the minute our heads hit the pillow. Now imagine this, the average person spends about 4.5 hours a day on their screen, stuck in this habit. Fast forward to the end of your life, and you're handed those hours back, only to realise just how many were spent in the scroll. It's a thought that cuts right through the excuses we tell ourselves. Those excuses are, I don't have enough time, or I'm just too busy. Because when we really look at it, the cost of doomscrolling isn't just time lost. It's potential lost. Precious moments that could have been spent living, creating, and connecting. So here's the shift we need to make. We need to go from mindless consumption to purposeful creation. How do we do that? As successful entrepreneurs, we have to start thinking about the antidote to all this consumption. And that's creation. We all have goals, dreams, and projects waiting to come alive, but they often get buried under the time we spent consuming content and doing research. Imagine if instead of getting pulled into your feed, you took those moments and used them to create. It could be planning a project, organising your week, writing that blog post, or finally working on that digital product you're excited to put into the world. Shifting from consumer to creator puts you back in control, giving purpose to the time you'd otherwise lose. But when scrolling gives us easy dopamine hits, while creation takes a lot of effort, scrolling gives us easy dopamine hits, while creation takes effort. A lot of effort. And at the beginning, we often feel unsure of what we're doing, so sometimes we end up doing nothing. But as Marie Forleo says, with action comes clarity. I've learned that each step we take gives us clues, showing us the right path as we go. Another trick, make creation feel just as rewarding as doom scrolling. I love creating content because I know it helps people reclaim their time, but I have to make sure that what I'm doing moves the needle in my business. Otherwise, I'm just swapping scrolling for something that is just as unproductive and makes me feel just as lousy. So here's what I do. For every action I take, I ask myself, is this moving me nearer to or further from my goals? During your weekly planning, start by setting small achievable goals that align with your big vision. Create your top 3 for each day and also create tiny, actionable items for each week. I recommend using verbs for all of them, especially the small ones. For example, organize one digital folder, not digital folders, as something to do. Or respond to one customer email, not customer emails. These are the little actions you can take when you're tempted to scroll, even when your energy is low and you're avoiding big tasks. Start really, really small. We don't want to sabotage ourselves. Usually once we start, we build momentum and end up doing a little more. But even if you only respond to that one client email, that's still more than responding to 0 client emails. And I know it's one thing to say, I'll stop scrolling and focus on my business. But in reality, it doesn't work like that, does it? I know all too well that when we're exhausted and drained, jumping up to work on our business is the last thing we feel like doing. But if you're still with me, I know you're serious about taking back control of your time. And you know I love anything practical and actionable. So here are 5 strategies that really work. As we know, social media is not going anywhere. But with a few mindful moves, we can make sure it doesn't run the show. Think of these as boundaries you're setting. Not to restrict yourself, but to create freedom and mental space. And yes, you might have heard some of these tips before, but that's the beauty. Hearing them in different ways helps us actually start to embody them. The first strategy is to set specific time limits. Start by setting clear limits on your social media time. Use a timer on your phone, or try a productivity app that gently nudges you when it's time to hop off. You could even try scroll breaks, giving yourself short check-ins at specific times, maybe a quick 10-minute scroll at lunch or after work, and then you're done. Think of them as little rewards. Another tip? Try removing social media apps from your phone and only use them on your desktop. I mean, it's just not as fun to scroll at your desk, is it? The goal isn't to be strict, but to build awareness and gradually cut down on those mindless sessions. The second strategy is to create a supportive environment. When your surroundings reflect your goals, staying on track gets a whole lot easier. 2 things you can do. Design a distraction-free workspace. A tidy, intentional workspace is great for focus. Think about what energizes you. Maybe it's a clean desk, a favorite candle, or your vision board full of goals. When I sit down to work, I make sure my space is distraction-free, so reaching for my phone doesn't become an automatic habit. I've put so much effort into creating a space that feels good and keeps me focused, and I promise it's worth every step of the setup. And sometimes my space gets off track, so I aim to do a mini reset to get me back on track at the end of the day. Another thing you can do to create a supportive environment is to create phone-free zones. Designate certain spaces, like your bedroom or the dining table, as phone-free zones. This gives you permission to be fully present in those places. A great way to keep tech out of your nighttime routine is an actual alarm clock by your bed instead of your phone. Now, I'm not there yet with the alarm clock. Maybe one day. With aging parents, I like to know they can reach me if they need me any time of the day. And plus, I found a lovely wake-up sound on my phone that gently eases me awake. But at the dining room table, it's a strict no-phone zone. That's our family time, and any pings or dings can just wait. Creating an environment that truly supports your goals makes being intentional and productive feel more achievable with each small step. These little boundaries open up space for focus, connection, and that deeper sense of presence we're all craving. Now, the third strategy is to boost your energy. Boost it naturally. When that low energy dip hits, the first instinct is to grab our phones for a quick dopamine hit. But here's the thing. What we really need in those moments isn't more screen time, but a boost that generally fuels us. Instead, try subbing a quick energy-boosting activity. A few minutes of movement, a short walk around the block, a glass of water, or a nourishing snack can do wonders. When we're feeling well-rested and nourished, that phone loses its grip and feels less like the answer to our fatigue. And I'm always going to talk about self-care because it's the easy one to overlook. Sometimes we think pushing harder is the path to productivity, but burnout is a real thing. Taking breaks, getting quality sleep, and making time for self-care are well-known secrets to keeping focus strong and consistent. In those moments when you're tempted to pick up your phone, try redirecting that urge to something that feeds your energy, like savoring a hot drink, doing some gentle stretches, or diving into a favorite book. If you really are craving that warm bath feeling for your brain, maybe an actual warm bath is just what you need. A moment of calm that lets you show up for yourself in a nurturing way. These little shifts aren't about saying no to yourself. They're about saying yes to a life that feels more present, fulfilling, and genuinely refreshing. The fourth strategy is to build momentum and maintain focus. Breaking the scrolling habit is one thing, but keeping that momentum going, that's what we really need to focus on. Let's talk about setting yourself up for long-term success with strategies that keep your focus sharp and help you make real progress. I rely heavily on time management tools, and while they can sound a little corporate, they're actually power moves for entrepreneurs. Here are two of my favorites. Firstly, the Pomodoro technique, which really is just another way to say a timer. It's a lifesaver for focus. Set a timer for 25 minutes, dive into a task, and then reward yourself with a 5-minute break. This simple rhythm builds momentum and gives your brain a little breathing room to recharge. Those 5-minute breaks, they're like mini rewards for resisting the urge to scroll. I use this all the time, especially when I'm procrastinating. I tell myself, just set the timer, it's only 25 minutes. This works best for tasks that may not be my favourite, but still move the needle in my business. And I haven't yet automated or delegated them in a way that would feel aligned with my values. On the flip side, there's time blocking for deep focus work. Carving out specific blocks of time for undisturbed focus is pure gold for avoiding distractions. During these blocks, silent notifications, close out unnecessary tabs, and dive into the work that matters most. No more research. Well, make sure you've got all the inspiration you need to get the job done. Make sure it's at your fingertips. You'll be amazed at how much you can accomplish with just an hour of uninterrupted focus. And these tools aren't about rigidity. They're about freeing up time and energy to focus on what matters and keep that momentum going. The fifth strategy that I'd like to talk about is to take inspiration from others, but don't fall into the comparison trap. Think about the business owners and creators you admire. You know that they're not scrolling aimlessly. They're laser-focused on work that fuels their passion. By turning moments of mindless scrolling into intentional bursts of creation, you'll not only escape that hollow feeling of doomscrolling, but start building real momentum. Little by little, you'll see that replacing consumption with creation isn't about restriction. It's about reclaiming the time for what matters. These people remind us that small, consistent changes are the key to breaking free from doomscrolling and stepping into your full potential. Just imagine what you could achieve by redirecting your time and energy. It's also great to find accountability buddies, sharing your goals with someone who will keep you on track, whether it's a friend, co-worker, or an online community. It's so much easier to stay motivated when you're not doing it alone. Find people who get you, who cheer you on, and who make you feel powerful and inspired, and be that same energy for them. Once you find these people, guard them with your heart. They'll be there for you in the good times and the hard. Another way is to set up positive cues by using little reminders to stay mindful of your goals. A quote on your laptop that says, "Choose creation over consumption," or a gentle reminder on your phone to read your goals daily can make all the difference. Positive cues make it easy to remember what matters when distractions are just a click away. By being intentional of where you find your inspiration, you're building a life filled with purpose, and that's where the real magic lies. All right, friends, we've covered a lot, from understanding the cycle of procrastination and doomscrolling to setting boundaries and focusing on creation over consumption. Now you're armed with the tools to reclaim your time and energy. Breaking free from these habits isn't about perfection or expecting to never scroll again. It's about taking small, intentional steps towards more mindful choices that truly align with your goals. When you start to feel that pull towards the endless scroll, remember the bigger picture, the projects you want to complete, the dreams you're building, the relationships you want to nurture. Every minute reclaimed is a minute invested back into what truly matters. For me, one of my declarations is, I have self-integrity and do what I say I'm going to do, even if it's just for myself. This little reminder helps me stop the scroll and stay in alignment with my goals and values. So here's your challenge. Take just one of these strategies and try it out this week. Maybe it's setting a timer, creating a phone-free zone, or sharing your goals with an accountability buddy. Celebrate each small win and remember, the journey to a more intentional life is a marathon, not a sprint. Let's keep moving forward, even if it's just one scroll-free moment at a time. And hey, I'd love to hear about your progress. Share your wins, your struggles, and those breakthrough moments. DM me on Instagram at timeforlivingco or email me at hello@timeforliving.co. Together, let's make sure our time is spent living, creating, and connecting, not scrolling. Hey friends, thank you so much for tuning in to the Time for Living podcast today. If this episode inspired you to take action and save time, I'd be so grateful if you could leave a written review and subscribe over on Apple Podcasts. Your feedback means the world to me and helps us reach even more amazing people like you. If you know a friend who needs to hear this message, share this episode with them. And remember, your time is precious, so make every moment count. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep living, and keep making time for what matters most.